What's going on YouTube? So 3 months has passed since I got my 2026 Prius Nightshade Edition, the plug-in version. So I'm here to give you an ownership overview of what it's been like owning this car for the first 3 months of it. So if you've been with the channel, you know that I sold my venerable CT4V Blackwing and then I slid into a Prius. Now my main reason for doing that was to save money, and I've been saving a ton of money. Almost makes me look brilliant seeing how high the gas prices have spiked up. It's almost like you could have seen this coming. Seriously, you could have seen this coming. But I'm here right now, saved a lot of money, so that mission is complete. But what has it been like in the first 3 months of ownership? Let's talk about that. And some of these update videos will sound a little bit repetitive and redundant, but I gotta go over this. So this car is Hyperefficient. So it's the plug-in hybrid version. We got the gas tank on this side, which I've only been to the gas station maybe 4 fill-ups on this car since December, which is stellar to me. And then we got the plug-in side. So overnight it charges up fully on the level 1 charger. So that has been the main reason for me getting this car. Actually, if it didn't have this, I wouldn't get it. If it wasn't a plug-in, I wouldn't get the regular hybrid Prius, because the plug-in part, the PHEV, is the part that did it for me. So with this PHEV, when it's cold outside, get between 20 and 30 miles per charge. But today is warm outside, so days like today, I'm able to get over 40 miles on the charge. And today was close to 70, so that's what I get to look forward to in the summertime. The wintertime is stretched out a bit. It snowed like a couple days ago. Not snow on the ground accumulation, but I saw a couple of snowflakes. Kills the mileage. And when I have it in hybrid only, like if I take a little road trip and I run out of EV, sometimes I save the EV mode until I get to where I'm going. But on the highway, the mileage gets sucked up big time. So normally with just a hybrid engine without the plug-in energy, I'm getting maybe 35 miles to a gallon, sometimes 40 when it's like 20 degrees outside. Days like today, easily getting 50 miles per gallon. And that's including the highway as well. So the temperature has a lot to do with it. It is excellent. And the kilowatt hours per, I don't even know what that metric is, but it's around 3. Actually, I just got to show y'all, because I can't be talking about the efficiency and half-assed it. I got to give you guys the real deal Holyfield. So the mileage on my car so far is actually 3,300 miles. This tank of gas got over 340 miles on this tank. And then if you look at the gas meter, still got over 3/4 of a tank, and that's all on this tank. 343 miles, haven't even burnt a quarter tank of gas on here. So let me go up to what we got here, 3.2 miles per kilowatt hour. As it gets warmer, that's going to get better. So it was like 2.4 before. Somebody said that was abysmal. I must drive like a madman. No, I just drive in the cold climate. Go in the hybrid mode, still 99.9 miles per gallon. So I just really don't burn gas at all in here, only on those road trips. And as you can see, I still got charge left over from my day of driving. Drove to work, actually drove a longer distance to work today. I still got like 15% charge left, so hooray, that's great. A bad thing that I have noticed, so these tires are horrible. It's fun when you want to do a spirited drive, but they don't have enough grip to do nothing with. So when it's slick outside, when it's a little bit wet, as you see the puddles in the parking lot, the front tires spin. We got enough torque with the electric motors to make the tires spin. That's good when you want to have fun. Bad in snow and rain. And also, I noticed since I'm in this pothole-ridden state, when I hit on the brakes while I'm going into a pothole or like uneven surfaces, I see some kind of telltales flash on the cluster, and it feels like the car doesn't stop as fast as it normally does. And I think that's the huge uh-oh. Like, it feels unsafe. I've seen it multiple times. I'm gonna see if I can get that replicated and put on a camera for you guys so I can show you exactly what it is. Cause I'm like, oh shoot, I'm about to slide into the car in front of me. And it feels weird in the pedal as well. I'm not sure if that's some kind of like hybrid regenerative braking type of whatever, but I'm not used to that. And it feels very unsafe. So I think they need to do something about that. Maybe it's an actual problem. Let me know in the comments if you've experienced this before, because potholes galore here. I've seen it like 5 times happen that I've noticed, and I can see it flashing on the telltale or on the cluster, the telltale on the cluster. So let me know if you've experienced that before. I have. So my eyes might be playing tricks on me. Thought I had a rock chip, but look like some little micro bubbles in my tank. I'll let you guys know if that spreads, because it on the inside, heard a rock hit the windshield, then I noticed like a little spot right here, but maybe it just wasn't nothing. Maybe it was one of those placebo effects. And then I don't know what this is down here, this like little line. Okay, ended up being nothing. My apologies. Let's talk about a few more things on the interior. This is intended to be my daily driver. Well, it's totally my daily driver. So coming from the Blackwing to this, driving it in a regular manner as normal people should drive on a day-to-day basis in rush hour traffic on a daily commute, it's a nice place to be. I am missing a couple features like carbon fiber on the back of my seats, ventilated seats. You can't get the ventilated seats on the highest trim, which is the XSE Premium. I have the XSE, which gives me heated front seats, and this doesn't have massaging seats, but I'll be all right. I will be okay. Interior is a great place to see. Extremely great seat comfort. It's a little dark in here, got gray stitching, kind of boring with the seats, but like the dash with the, well, I thought it was ambient lighting, that ain't what that is. And having the sunroofs or the dual roof panes, they don't open. It lets a lot of light in here, so I actually enjoy that. Actually, let me open the back one so we can let a little bit light, because it's getting dark out here. There is a recall with the switch. I won't have to worry about this right now. Once water freezes in the switch, the door is prone to open. Yeah, your door will be open while you're driving, but don't have to worry about that now. It's not cold enough to get that kind of water in there to where it messes up the switch. And I don't think I've been notified by mail yet, but I've seen it on the forums. This wireless charger I had no issues with initially. Actually, initially I couldn't even turn the thing on because I didn't realize it was a button right here. Just kind of blends in because it's all dark. But on short trips, maybe like 20 to 40 minutes, it works really well. I'll probably get 10% charge, which is adequate. But on longer trips for like an hour, that phone gets on fire to the point to where it stops charging. So if you want to do it over the long haul, this wireless charger ain't what it should be. You're going to have to might as well get you a USB if you actually have to charge your phone. Do not rely on the wireless charger. Your phone will be a fireball. And another thing, I actually reached out to Toyota and they responded about this B mode in driving. So what I read is for down hills, but I'm going to have to do a video on that because I haven't read the email in its entirety, but I think this might be for regenerative driving, like one pedal driving. It might be what I initially thought it was for, but stay tuned for that video. I'm going to have to cross-reference the user manual and what I was told by Toyota, which they referenced the manual as well. I looked at myself already in the manual, so I just need to know exactly what it's going to do. And speaking of manual, like going through the menus, I've said this in a few videos, to know what all this crap does in the cluster, you gotta go through the manual, because you're not gonna know what all this crap is, because it is not user-friendly. You're not gonna figure out these acronyms. You're not even gonna see them because my focus ain't working right now. Like all these acronyms, you have to use the driver's manual just because they're not frequently used. And I work in the automotive field. I don't know what the hell these things mean. I had to read it, and they got like a paragraph for each one. So I wish it were a little bit more intuitive. I wish it was in this giant screen we got here, which is a upgraded option on the XSE, comes standard on the Premium. So I wish they would utilize all of this real estate over here instead of this small display over there. It's more than enough space in here to put those options. Easier to read, touchscreen, yeah, better. Another great thing about this Prius, the call quality. I like talking on the phone when I drive at times. I've owned the car, the WRX. I could not make phone calls while I drove. I could make the phone calls, but the recipient on the other end could not understand what I was saying. It was muffled. I couldn't hear them. No complaints at all about the call quality in this Prius here. It just works. It's great. They hear me, I hear them. So that's all I got to say about my little Prius. A ton of people are interested in this car, like in person. A lot of people ask me about it. I let them get in, check it out. They're impressed. I was impressed. That's why I actually bought one. I'm like, damn, I ain't know the Prius did it like that nowadays. It's a cool car. It's super efficient, not too hard on the bank. Yes, Toyota went hybrid crazy with everything. And I see that the Prius sales have dropped, but I think it's still better than its competitors out there, especially with the plug-in capability. It's the top choice for me. even the hybrid version without the plug-in capabilities, still a top choice. But for me, Prius plug-in, PHEV, Nightshade Edition, I like stuff that most people can't get, like this color. Very hard to find. So that's all I gotta say. Lovely place to be on a day-to-day basis. It's efficient. My family can fit in there. Don't gotta spend much of anything at the pump. Been like 4 times, so once a month, if that, is going to be even more spaced out as it continues to warm up. And I'm just overall happy about it. Mission complete. Saved a ton of money getting the Prius. We'll see what happens in the future, but for now, rocking with this until the wheels fall off. And that's about a year for me. But I got it for now, and I can see myself keeping one of these because I don't need a sports car every day. I've always had a sports car, well, as long as you guys have known. Actually, for like the last handful of years, I've just had like hardcore sports cars for my daily drivers, but it's cool to get like a normal commuter car to normally commute in. That's what they're made for, and they're great at it. So if you got any questions, drop a comment, let me know, make a video on it, give y'all a sneak preview of what's to come next. The Miata's coming up on this 2 years ownership, so that might be my next video. Yeah, that's all I got, because I skipped last week, kind of got lazy, burnt out from life right now, but I'm back at it. Well, it's not like I went anywhere. I took a week off. Took 2 weeks off this year. Out of my 5-6 years I've been on YouTube, I probably not posted 3 or 4 times the whole time in a week. So I'm at it. I get tired sometimes too, y'all. But that's all I gotta say. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, brother channel, and I'll catch y'all in the next video. Peace out.